Bienvenidos a WrestleMania con el luchador, el protector del mundo, señor, el conquistador de Nico Bolas, Brion Stoutarm! Welcome to Brion WrestleMania. Hope you're excited. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we've got 3 lands. We're going to keep on this one. I like it. And we've got Phyrexian Soulgorger, so if we can find our way into Pandemonium, we can certainly have some fun. So let's go Arid Mesa. Yeah, this is a great hand. The only thing that'd make it better is if we... Why is Soulgorger grayed out? I don't know. The only thing that'd make it better is if we had some sort of artifact ramp. So let's go ahead and crack Arid Mesa. Let's grab ourselves Sacred Foundry. We're going to have that come into play tapped. And then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Now, I did that because we're about to cover commanders and I didn't want to forget to crack it. So technically, you should leave it up if you want to play as tight as possible. So we're playing Mr. Luchador himself, Brion WrestleMania. Lifelink. Then for 1 red mana activation, sacrifice another creature. Brion deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target player or planeswalker. Playing against Rashmi, sound the Simic alarm, so hopefully we can Rey Mysterio 619 her out into the audience once she gets those Simic bells going. And, ooh, grab the reins. Okay, nothing for 2. So let's go Rugged Prairie and then kick it back over there. So whenever you cast your first spell each turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it is a non-land card with converted mana cost less than that spell, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't, put the revealed card. If you don't cast the revealed card, put it into your hand. And that is both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you need to get into Commander Online, whether it's Commander, Modern, Legacy, Penny Dreadful, whole just tons of formats out there. That's a fun way to play Magic. Hit up MTGOTraders. They've got you covered. Let's go Windswept Heath. Yeah, and that's going to put us on Smothering Tithe. I think that's going to give us some pretty good mana. So let's just go ahead and kick it back over to our opponent. But yeah, check out MTGOTraders if you check them out. And also shout out to inkgaming.com. Use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order. Or click on the link down in the description below. I've got some awesome playmats listed on my artist page on Inked Gaming. I've got a Gonti 4-finger discount playmat with some kind of brass gold looking knuckles. I've got a Unesh Space Train playmat. I've got a Church of Athreus playmat, which the art has been commissioned, so that's really cool if you want to check that out. And then, wow, there's something else I'm forgetting. Oh, I built a Ravnica zombie playmat, where it's kind of like you're on a zombie cleaning crew, and I don't know, I thought that was pretty neat, pretty cool. Yeah, let's go and jam a quick Swords to Plowshares. I think that'd be good. Well, we just want to get a little bit of a tempo play. We can go for a quick Swords to Plowshares, and then that'll allow us to go for Smothering Tithe while they're tapped out. And if they want to recast Rashmi here in a little bit, they certainly can. But at least we'll just send Rashmi back to the command zone, so that'll be pretty good. Let's go Mountain. I still want to go Smothering Tithe. This is going to be, I think, the first time since I've cast it, or the first time I've ever gotten to cast it, so I'm excited to get that down. But yeah, be sure to check out Ink Gaming. I've got a couple different playmats. I'm sure some of these will pop up on the screen when you see them. And also, I started a Patreon, so if you'd like to contribute directly to the channel, that is certainly there. No pressure to do so, but I think the smallest tier I have is $3. So if you'd like to join that one, let's say you're using AdBlock, that would certainly be a good way to kind of make up for, YouTube ad revenues kind of all over the place sometimes. But other than that, it is officially free time. We can have some fun. Now look at Smothering Tithe giving us a treasure token. I love it. So we'll be able to go for, and look at that, this is a very Church of Athreus token. Probably won't end up going Hedron Archive. If we just basically just get down Brion Stoutarm, we can't get it down right now, but we got some good stuff to start sacrificing to Brion. And we just really want to make sure we have an explosive turn once we finally do get down Brion. That's pretty much what we end up getting down. But if you haven't seen Brion before, this is one of my favorite commanders out there. I love this commander. One of my favorite things in Magic is when you have a card that mechanically fits what it's doing so flavorfully. You have Brion throwing creatures. You have that activation. Just the fact that we have Brion WrestleMania throwing these creatures out of the ring. Like if you ever played Mario 64. If you haven't, go play it. It's a really fun game. Even if you're younger and that was before your time, go play it. It's a fun game to play. It's a little clunky. Controls are a little clunky, but it is a fun game to get lost into. But yeah, there's a boss battle with Bowser, and you just grab him by the tail and you spin him and then you throw him. And that's how I always imagine Brion. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. Now, opponent does have 3 blue mana open. Yeah, let's go ahead and go for a Temple of Triumph. Let's see what the Scry, the Scurry. Oh yeah, and I have a Scry Scurry playmat too. So the Scry, the Scurry, the Fever. I had a lot of fun making that one. Marsh Flats. Yeah, since we've got Smothering Tithe, we can go and put that on the bottom. Let's go for Hedron Archive. At this point right now, we're just rolling out just enough, just, good basic threats to where if our opponent wants to use a counterspell on Hedron Archive, they can. If not, we are in a pretty good position. And then we'll go and pass the turn. So now that we're kind of really starting to develop our mana, we're going to try our best to get down Brion. But yeah, back to the Mario 64. So you grab Bowser. Oh, yes. yes, yes, yes. Brainstorm into a Smothering Tithe. I love it. I love it. Some good magic right there. But yeah, so back to Mario 64. So when you grab Bowser, you grab him by the tail, and then you just rotate the joystick, and then you just you throw him, and that's how I always imagine Brion gaining control of some creatures. So it's always a lot of fun. But yeah, so we're gonna end up at least 2 more treasure tokens. So that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's gonna be 10 mana to work with, and like I mentioned, that's gonna make some pretty explosive turns. Once we kind of get down something like Wormcoil Engine, we can sacrifice that, and that's going to give, and that's the cool thing about this deck is, we have a lot of game control spells. We have Grab the Reins, then you can, one of the best things you can do with Brion is gaining control of your opponent's commander and throwing it and sending it back to the command zone, because that's some good magic right there. But it's just a good way to kind of use spot removal at the same time, just kind of frustrate your opponent, And the cool thing about Brion is typically I'm not a Boros player, Sorry, PJ, it's just my least favorite color. And I don't know, it's just an interesting way to take Boros, and I love it. In fact, let's go ahead and go Brion. Yeah, let's get Brion down. That's going to be 1, 2, and then 3, then 4. And then next turn, we can really start to get some good stuff going. So we get down Brion. Maybe they have a counterspell. If they do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can actually just crack all these treasure tokens and recast Brion, which I think we might end up going for that. Yeah, that's fine, because if they've got another counterspell, we want Brion to stick. We're getting to the point now to where we can get down stuff like Phyrexian Soulgorger, and that's going to be a really nice chunk of damage. So let's go and crack these treasure tokens. Oh, and dang it, I miscounted on the treasure token, so we could have left one of them up. Sorry, there's a little bit of a misplay on my part. But we do get down Brion to stick, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, so with Grab the Reins, you just use this for the game control. Yeah, so basically with Grab the Reins, if we want to go for the Entwine ability, we can basically just use it as a Brion on a stick. But I think at this point, what we'll probably end up doing is just, we'll see what they get out. Our opponent is getting to the point now where they've got 6, 7, 8, 9. They've got 9 mana, so that does put them in the range of, depending on what sort of Rashmi build this is, at least we'll have some sort of creature to gain control of. But yeah, if you're thinking about building Brion, you definitely want to incorporate stuff like, Crossing Grip, okay. We had our fun. We got that Brainstorm Smothering Tithe, which is pretty much like the stars aligning for Smothering Tithe. That's like, if you put it in your deck, you're like, what do you want to happen? You're like, I want somebody to cast a Brainstorm even though my Smothering Tithe when they have to. So that's what we got. Oh no, and then we Curse of the Swine on Brion. All right, so let's gonna send Brion back to the command zone. We're looking at 4, 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have just enough mana. Yeah, I think we still just end up going Brion. If we wanted to, we could go Wormcoil Engine, but if they have another piece of removal for Brion, so be it. But at least at this point, that's going to allow us to at least kind of go Hoarding Dragon, and then what we can do is, after that, we'll just start going Wormcoil Engine Beat Sticks, and that'll be perfectly fine. Okay, so we get Brion down. Let's go and swing in with our newly minted Boar token. Let's go and swing in for 2. We're looking at a Coiling Oracle that's simply just a 1/1. So we'll get in for 2, knock them down to, well, actually, excuse me, no. They're going to dodge that damage with Coiling Oracle. And we send that to the graveyard, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, Wormcoil Engine is definitely a really good thing for Brion. And the other cool thing is that, your cards like Hoarding Dragon. So when it enters the battlefield, search your library for an artifact card, exile it. Then whenever a Hoarding Dragon dies, we get to return that back to our hand. So, with Hoarding Dragon, we can pretty much grab whatever sort of artifact we want. If we want to grab Eater of Days, let's say we have Pandemonium. If we want to grab a Mirage Mirror to kind of start making copies of different creatures, that's going to allow us to, at least for 6 mana, mana, be 4 damage up top, and tutor something into our hand. So, but, you know, it's a fun way to play Brion, you know, or at least play Boros, because and that's going to bring me actually to the topic of Feather, the new Boros commander. Really excited about that one. It'll probably be one of the not last commanders I build, but one of the ones a little bit further down the line, just simply because I just don't have that much experience with Boros commanders and building them and different things like that. So I'll probably get a few out of the way. Definitely want to build Bantu first, because can't wait to start sacrificing my entire board state to just cashing a lot of card draw. That, like, whenever they released Bantu, I saw that and I just fainted for a little bit, and I was like, whew. Yes, this is because if I were to drop a commander, that would pretty much be the Jolt commander, some variation of that, probably in Sultai colors or at least Orzhov colors. That would be me. But all right, so we run into Mountain. Let's get Mountain down, and at this point we can grab the reins on Rashmi, which is not bad if we want to go for that. That at least kind of get rid of that extra value. Yeah, I think I kind of like going for that. So let's go grab the reins. We're going to gain control of Rashmi. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And, you know, this is one of the other things to where we could go Phyrexian Soulgorger if we want to do a lot of damage this turn. But at least at this point, we're going to force our opponent to have some sort of answer for Rashmi. You know, we just want to be annoying with Brion. We want to gain control of their commander and force them to spend their resource. Oh, look at that. Just flashing in a quick Cultivate. This is definitely Simic Alarms when in response to grab the reins, they're going to go for a Cultivate. But yeah, you know, just forcing the issue of just sending that commander tax up and up and up. And then just, you know, even though it's 2 damage, tempo-wise, this is a really good play. So at least they don't have anything to kind of stop Rashmi. So they're going to go Cultivate. We're going to gain control of Rashmi, and then we're going to get ready to Rey Mysterio 619 her out into the audience. So let's go and send in Rashmi, send in Boar. And one of the best things with Brion is, like, stop hitting yourself when you, you get control of the commander, swing in and attack with them, and then deal some damage up top. So we're going to swing that across. There we go. Let's go for the Brion activation. We're going to choose our opponent. We're going to sacrifice. Actually, let's make sure we did that correctly. So, sacrifice another creature, choose target player, choose our player, pay 1 red mana, and then sacrifice Rashmi. There we go. All right, so we're going to send 2 damage up top. It's going to send them to 26. And actually, what we can do is we can get down Phyrexian Soulgorger, because once we get down Phyrexian Soulgorger, during our upkeep, we can send that 8 damage up top to our opponent in response to that cumulative upkeep trigger of sacrificing a creature. So that's one way you can kind of dodge some of these creatures that have a really kind of a big drawback to them. It's kind of a cool way to get around that. So we've got Phyrexian Soulgorger. We're going to get that onto the battlefield. If we wanted it to actually stick around, if they don't get a creature down, we'll see what they end up going for. We can actually sacrifice the Boar token, and we'll end up with a snow artifact creature construct. I don't know. This is one of those creatures like... So basically, I'll kind of explain my love for Phyrexian Soulgorger and Eater of Days and Leveler here in a little bit. Let's get down Phyrexian Soulgorger. Okay, so we got Phyrexian Soulgorger down, then anything else will go and pass the turn. So one of the first decks that I ever built in... you know, just to kind of explain where Magic Online came from, with Arena, you know, they have, like, you can kind of play standard. With Magic Online, they had this format called, like, casual or, like, classic, or I think it's called classic, and basically it was just kind of like kitchen table Magic. You know, you had legacy elements to where you could build Cloud Post decks, but the power level of these classic decks are basically, it was just something that, you know, both you and your buddy would play after school, or let's say you're in class together and you have a little bit of extra minutes, you just play some fun stuff like that, you know, something that's not necessarily overpowered, it has a theme to it, but you get to trade some good back and forth Magic. So that was classic. That's what the classic format was. Kitchen table Magic for Magic Online. And so what one of the decks that I built was Cloud Post. I really enjoyed that deck, and it was mono red Cloud Post. And what it was Pandemonium, and basically it was like mono red Tron in a way, where, you know, you get down Pandemonium, go for Phyrexian Soulgorger, go for Leveler, go for Eater of Days, and I don't know, it was just a lot of fun, and I always enjoyed playing that. So I think at this point, actually, with Phyrexian Soulgorger, what we probably want to do is we're going to sacrifice the Boar token, and we're going to see if our opponent's not going to trade on the Seaborn Muse. So we're going to, yes, we'll definitely sacrifice this Boar, and we'll get one more counter on that Threaten. And I think if we just gain control of Seedborn Muse, I think if we could definitely go for that. So let's go. We go Threaten on Seedborn Muse. And I think we're going to be able to... No, that's going to do in each untapped step. So we can go threaten, and then we still go for a Hoarding Dragon, sacrifice it. Yeah, I think I like that. So let's go threaten on Seedborn Muse. Yeah, let's do that. And look at the art on threaten. I love it. Got a Goblin branding a human right there. That's some good magic. Okay, we're going to gain control of Seedborn Muse. Let's go and push in. We're going to swing in for 8 and 2. That's going to be 10, putting them down to 16. And yeah, I think we need to go for the Seedborn Muse sack. Yeah, because not still, even though we have the cumulative upkeep for next turn, well, actually, we can set it up. Yeah, let's set it up with that Hoarding Dragon. So we go Brion. We're going to target our opponent, pay 1 red mana, sacrifice Seedborn Muse, and then let's go Hoarding Dragon. Actually, I think the better line of play... No, we can go Hoarding Dragon, because I was about to say we could go Wurmcoil Engine, but with us being able to go Hoarding Dragon, it's still going to allow us to hold on to this treasure token, and then once we sacrifice the cumulative upkeep of Phyrexian Soulgorger, that will allow us to grab whatever sort of artifact that we need. And I think at this point, yeah, let's go Eater of Days. I think that would be good. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to grab Eater of Days, because at this point, we just want to grab something that's going to be some really nice damage right then and there. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yeah, with that classic deck, it's basically just Cloud Post decks. If you don't know what Cloud Post is, it's a land that you can add mana to your mana pool for each Cloud Post on the battlefield. And so there'd be a lot of times to where Cloud Post is a pretty popular deck to play in a casual setting because it's pretty cheap on Magic Online. And, you just end up Cloud Post versus Cloud Post decks, and everybody would just have a ton of mana. Oh, just a real casual Nissa flashed in with 9 loyalty. At the end of your turn, sound the Simic alarms. Okay, so that's going to be -6. Untap up to 2 lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste, and they're still lands. Okay, so our opponent just dropped in a Nissa really quick. So they're going to get the Scry. We'll see if they end up going for the -6, because they immediately go for that and turn that into some lands. And do those... they become until end of turn. All right, so they're going to stay lands once our opponent passes the turn to us, so we're not going to be able to gain control of them. But at this point, depending on what they get down, if they don't really get any sort of creatures, we might be able to close it out. So we look at sacrificing Hoarding Dragon. That's going to give us Eater of Days. We swing in a Phyrexian Soulgorger for 8. That's going to put them down, and then we go for 8. That's going to put them down to 6. And then we can sacrifice Phyrexian Soulgorger for the final damage. So let's see what our opponent ends up getting down. They did end up going for the 0 ability. Look at the top card. If it's a land card or a creature card, less than equal number of loyalty counters, you may put that card onto the battlefield. So let's see what the reveal zone. That's going to be an island, so they probably stuck that down. And we'll go and cross off this reveal zone. But this is pretty much what Brion wants to do. Thankfully we were able to kind of just be annoying with Brion. Even though you always think of Brion getting down some creature that's, 20 or 15, just huge power and toughness bonus and closing the game out. But just being able to use Brion as some spot removal and getting the commander attacks going up on the commander makes it really hard for your opponent to get any sort of value going. But they're doing pretty good. They've got Nissa sitting at 9 and Videlic Orrery. And, ooh... Opponent's going to go for Shahili's Artistry. They're going to make a copy of Hoarding Dragon and Phyrexian Soulgorger. So actually, that's Shahili's Artistry is one of my favorite cards recently. It is pretty expensive, but there's a lot of times in Commander where just being able to make a token that's a copy of an artifact, especially in a multiplayer setting, there's a lot of artifacts on the table, and you get a copy of a creature. It's just a really nice effect for 6 mana. It's not something that's too cheap. It's not too expensive, but if you have it late game, it's kind of always something that's really nice to see, or especially in a Spellslinger deck, if you're making a copy of it or something, you can get you some pretty good value going. So I always like that spell. So at this point right now, we're definitely going to be sacrificing Hoarding Dragon, I think. So that's going to be us swinging in for 8. They're going to make the trade. And we can sacrifice Hedron Archive. Do we want to hold on to... Yeah, I think we do it like this. So we do sacrifice Hoarding Dragon. Yeah, I like this. So we sacrifice Hoarding Dragon. Wait, excuse me, we have to sacrifice 2 creatures. Oh, dang it. I forgot the cumulative upkeep was 2. Oh, no, this is bad. I got too chatty Cathy. Yeah, I don't play with cumulative upkeep a lot, and I thought it was just 1 creature per turn. All right, so we're going to have to sacrifice Hoarding Dragon and Unfortunately, Phyrexian Soul. Oh, we should have done this in response to that. All right, so we're gonna get Eater of Days, which is not what we needed to do. Yeah, sorry, that was a little bit of a misplay on my part. Sorry about that. But at least we still have we have the damage in our hand with Wormcoil Engine and Eater of Days, so we can make that. Oh, and especially Mimic Vat. That's going to make it pretty easy. So we got Mimic Vat, 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, and then still have just enough mana activation for Brion Stoutarm. Our opponent does have one card left in their hand, so if they've got a counterspell, they've got it. But at least we go Wormcoil Engine. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. We go for the Brion activation. We sacrifice Wormcoil Engine, and I think we'll probably just go ahead and go for it straight up now. Yeah, that's going to be good. So let's go ahead and sacrifice. We're going to target our opponent, and we're going to pay 1 red mana with this treasure token. We're going to sacrifice Wormcoil Engine. We're going to send that over to Mimic Vat, get a couple extra tokens for our troubles. Oh yeah, look at that. It's going to put it down to 8. And then, yes, we definitely want to use that ability. And then we can drop that in next turn to do a little bit of extra damage, or simply just drop in Eater of Days at 9 and then close it out. So we'll go on and pass the turn over our opponent. So you can see with this deck, it's pretty resilient. You know, I forgot about the cumulative upkeep kind of amplifying every single turn. And the better way that would have played out is in response to that trigger. We should have sacrificed Phyrexian Soul Gorger and then still sacrificed the Hoarding Dragon to that trigger, because that would have been enough damage off of that. So unfortunately, that was a little bit of a misplay on my part. But hey, you know, cumulative upkeep is typically something you don't really see a lot of in Magic anymore. So that's kind of one of those, you know, play with something that's really old and you don't really have too much experience with it. You kind of forget about it sometimes. And so, all right, so our opponent does end up sacrificing Hoarding Dragon. We'll see what they ended up grabbing off of Hoarding Dragon if it ends up coming down right now. But hopefully, fingers crossed, between swinging in with the Worm tokens that we have on the battlefield, swinging in with Wormcoil Engine, making a copy of it, because it will have... Yeah, it gains haste, so we can actually swing in with the haste option. So we've got a lot of stuff to do. Even if our opponent does somehow get rid of Mimic Vat, they get rid of some of our creatures. Pretty much the only thing we don't want to see is them somehow dealing with Brion. So if we can just cast Eater of Days, even in response to Eater of Days, let's say they have some sort of answer, we can always just quick drop in Mimic Vat and then go for that activation. So let's see what they're getting down now. Vizier of the Minigree, okay. And the other cool thing to kind of mention with Brion is that, you know, there's a lot of time it has lifelink, and so you can end up getting just a ton of life, you know. You can sit back, kind of build this weird Boros control deck, and you're gaining so much life, it's hard for your opponent. And, you know, when you're sending, you know, 6, 7, 8 damage to your opponent a turn, that's a pretty good chunk of damage, so that's also kind of makes it fun. All right, so opponent's going to go for Mold Drifter. They're going to enter the battlefield, cash in a little bit extra card draw. So let's see what else they're going to roll out for the turn. Now, since they did evoke their Mold Drifter, we're not going to use the Mimic Vat ability. We'll definitely have a better option off going Wormcoil Engine, because I think even when the Wormcoil Engine token dies, we still get more tokens. So it's kind of like using Wormcoil Engine in Felden. It's just busted, and I love it. Now, our opponent does have 4 mana, 4 blue mana open, so that does leave them open. They have 4 cards in the hand to counter magic. But like I mentioned, I think we should be able to get in enough damage to where we can close it out. We'll see if they have a counter spell, and especially, you know, if we draw into some other really good spell, we can at least cast that and go for the Brion activation. So let's see what we run into. Run into Chaos Warp, which is, you know, pretty good. We can use that for Nissa, or if we want to just kind of make sure we can swing in with some blockers, you know what, let's do this. So let's just straight up just go for Eater of Days, and let's just go and force the issue. So if this does resolve, that'll immediately be enough damage to our opponent. Oh, look at that. All right, so in response to that trigger, we're going to target our opponent, choose them. We're going to go for the red mana activation, sacrifice Eater of Days. That's going to be another Mimic Vat trigger. So if we had actually had a way to untap Brion, you can see where you could deal 18 damage in one turn. Yeah, and then that'll be a fun option too. So if they somehow even stop this Brion Stoutarm thing. All right, there we go. Opponent, we're going to be able to get it, put our opponent down to -1. You can definitely see where, you know, very early game, you can use Brion to just kind of chew up the commander attacks, kind of, you know, hopefully in a roundabout way, kind of control their turns and wanting them to get their commander down. And then once they abandon that plan, just simply spending 3 mana on a threaten, you know, getting rid of Seedborn Muse. That's just such a huge tempo play for us and such a huge tempo loss for them, not being able to untap their mana. And it's really just getting in their face with the Boros deck. And it's, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. But anyways, if you wore your Lucha mask today and you enjoyed your time at Brion WrestleMania. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.